Forget everything you think you know about Picasso, because his self-portraits will make you see the man behind the myth, and it's not the face you expect. But here's the real question. What happened in those 70 years that turned young, dreamy Picasso into a wrinkled sorcerer staring down the Grim Reaper? Was it love? Was it war? Was it too much wine or too many naked models posing in his studio? Maybe it was all of the above. Today, we're diving headfirst into the wild, messy, utterly chaotic life of Pablo Picasso through the most dangerous lens possible, his own face. Buckle up, because these self-portraits don't just show a man aging, they show a man misbehaving his way through art history. The Blue period, 1901 to 1904, let's start in the cold. And I don't mean just winter in Paris cold, I mean the kind of icy sadness that gets into your bones and refuses to leave. In 1901, Picasso's best friend, Carlos Casagemas, shot himself in the head over a woman. Yeah, that'll mess you up. Picasso was just 19, and instead of therapy, he did what every genius painter/emotional masochist would do: drown his entire canvas in blue. Everything became blue: the walls, the streets, the prostitutes, the beggars. Even his self-portraits from this time look like he's auditioning to be the patron saint of depression. But here's the thing. The women in these paintings aren't just sad, they're sensual in a tragic way. Like they know life is short, rent is due, and the only warm thing in their lives is maybe the guy painting them. Was Picasso mourning his friend, or was he just turning his grief into the sexiest shade of sadness the world had ever seen? The Rose period, 1904 to 1906. Then something happened. Maybe he got laid. Maybe someone spiked his absinthe with something happy. Maybe he just realized blue is depressing and doesn't sell well. Suddenly, the palette warmed up, pinks, reds, oranges. The blues melted into rose, and the starving beggars were replaced by circus performers, harlequins, and acrobats. You can feel it in his self-portraits too. He's no longer the sad poet of Montmartre. He's the cocky young stud in a painter's smock who knows he's hot. It was during this time that he met Fernande Olivier, his first long-term lover. And if you've ever wondered why the male gaze is both a blessing and a curse, look no further than Picasso's Rose period. Do these paintings celebrate love? Or are they basically Victorian-era thirst traps with better lighting?
The African period, 1906 to 1909. And then, Picasso went full mask. Literally. He started collecting African tribal masks and sculptures, not as a tourist souvenir, but as inspiration for something radical. His self-portraits from this time start to lose their softness. Faces become sharper, more angular. Eyes become these hypnotic almond shapes. Historians say it was an artistic breakthrough. I say it was Picasso's way of telling the world, your face is boring. Let me fix that by turning you into a geometric goddess who looks like she could both seduce and decapitate you. And let's be honest, this was also the seed of Cubism. He wasn't just painting a face, he was attacking it from every angle, like a lover who refuses to look at you just once, but wants you from every side at the same time. Cubism, 1909 to 1919. Ah yes, the era that made art critics sweat and regular people say, why does it look like my kid drew this? Here's the thing, Cubism wasn't just Picasso breaking the rules. It was him burning the entire rule book and then using the ashes to draw nipples at 12 different angles. In his Cubist self-portraits, you can see multiple versions of his face in one painting. It's as if he's saying, why settle for one sexy profile when I can give you 3? Was this pure genius? Or was Picasso just so bored of normal that he decided to completely reinvent human anatomy for fun? The neoclassical and surrealist years, 1919 to 1939. By now, Picasso was rich, famous, and completely out of control. He could paint whatever he wanted, sleep with whomever he wanted, and still have the audacity to tell people it was for art. During the neoclassical phase, his self-portraits became more muscular, almost Roman. He was probably thinking, I'm basically the Caesar of art, so I might as well look like one. But then the surrealist influence kicked in, and suddenly faces started melting, bodies twisting into impossible shapes. If Cubism was about showing every angle, Surrealism was about showing every fantasy, including the disturbing ones. Some of his later self-portraits look like he's halfway between an erotic dream and a psychological breakdown. And honestly, maybe he was. The final years, 1960s to 1973. Here's where it gets brutal and beautiful. Picasso aged, but he didn't soften. In his last self-portraits, especially self-portrait facing death, 1972, his face is just raw lines and burning eyes. He's stripped of vanity, but not of ego. You can feel him staring right through you, as if daring death to try. And here's the kicker. He drew it with colored pencils. No oil paint, no grand studio setup. Just a man, a piece of paper, and the quiet knowledge that time is almost up. It's terrifying. It's defiant. It's maybe the sexiest FU to mortality I've ever seen in art.
Questions for you. So, which Picasso do you prefer? The sad blue romantic, the pink circus flirt, the mask-wearing revolutionary, the Cubist rule-breaker, the surreal dream twister, or the old man who stared death in the face and sketched back? Because me, I'm torn between wanting to kiss him and wanting to run for my life. Picasso's self-portraits aren't polite little paintings you hang above the fireplace. They're raw confessions, dirty jokes in oil paint, and occasional nudes of his own damn ego. Half a century later, his work still makes art professors squirm, collectors drool, and some poor security guard at a museum wonder why you've been staring at the same canvas for 45 minutes with your mouth open. So, tell me, when you look at Picasso, do you see a fearless genius, or just a guy who spent his whole life painting his own face because he couldn't get enough of himself? Comment below your verdict, because after visiting 2 exhibitions, here's mine. Van Gogh might be the better painter, but Picasso, he painted the kind of pretty that makes you want to smoke a cigarette afterwards. Now, your turn.